Somewhere at the bottom of the ocean, forgotten by the world, lay a machine that was built to rule the skies. What you are about to witness is not just a restoration story. This is a resurrection. Miles beneath the surface, in the cold and crushing darkness of the deep ocean, where sunlight barely dares to reach, our dive team descended into the abyss. And then they saw it, a vintage silver fighter jet, lying silently on the ocean floor by, the silver paint, completely gone. Devoured by decades of salt water and time, thick barnacles had colonized every inch of the fuselage, seaweed draped over the wings like a funeral shroud. The cockpit, shattered, the landing gear, collapsed and rusted into fragments. This aircraft had not seen the sky in over 50 years. The divers looked at each other through their masks, and they made a decision. We are bringing this jet home. Getting a 50-year-old wreck off the ocean floor is not a simple operation. It requires planning, precision, and the right equipment. A massive marine salvage vessel was deployed to the site. Thick steel cables, heavy industrial chains, aircraft-grade lifting straps. Every piece of equipment was inspected and inspected again. Because one mistake at that depth and everything is lost. The divers descended once more, this time carrying the recovery rigging on their shoulders. Carefully, methodically, they wrapped the chains and cables around the corroded fuselage. Around the wing roots, around every structural point that could still hold weight. Connection by connection, shackle by shackle. Until finally, a thumbs up from the deep. We are ready. The crane operator gripped the controls. The cables went taut. And the ocean floor gave up its secret. Slowly, impossibly slowly, the jet began to move. 50 years of silt and sediment exploded from the ocean floor in a massive cloud. Barnacle clusters broke free from the fuselage and tumbled downward into the darkness. The cables strained. The chains vibrated under the weight. But they held. Higher and higher the jet rose through the cold, dark water, through the murky depths, upward toward the light it had not seen in half a century. And then it happened. The jet broke through the ocean surface. An explosion of white foam and cascading water, seaweed streaming from the wings. Ocean water pouring off the fuselage in waterfalls. Golden sunlight hitting the barnacle, covered body for the first time in 50 years. The entire crew stood in silence. Then they erupted. The silver fighter jet had returned to the world of the living. But the real challenge was only just beginning. As the jet was laid on the ship's deck and the barnacles were carefully cleared away, the full scale of the damage became brutally clear. The silver paint, gone. Completely consumed, the fuselage panels, riddled with corrosion holes, the metal eaten through in places. The cockpit, the pilot seat rotted into dark fragments. Every instrument shattered, the controls encrusted in decades of oxidation, the engine completely seized. Every turbine blade corroded beyond recognition. The experts looked at each other. Some said it was impossible. But impossible was never going to stop this team. The jet was carefully loaded onto an oversized transport flatbed. With a full police escort, it moved slowly through the city streets, drawing stares and open mouths from everyone who watched it pass. A rusted, barnacle-covered fighter jet rolling through the streets. Heading toward its second chance at life. Inside the professional aviation restoration workshop, the real work began. The jet was completely disassembled, every panel, every bracket, every fitting removed, tagged, and assessed individually. The seized engine was extracted from the engine bay and taken apart piece by piece. Chemical rust treatments were applied across the entire fuselage. Angle grinders screamed as decades of rust were stripped back to bare clean metal. The turbine components, submerged in industrial ultrasonic cleaning baths. Watching the thick green-brown corrosion dissolve away was extraordinary. Where the metal had been eaten completely through, expert aerospace welders precisely laid down new panels. Brilliant white welding arcs and cascading sparks lit up the workshop. Then, every surface was coated in professional aviation anti-corrosion primer. In another corner of the workshop, a master craftsman was cutting rich, deep burgundy red leather, premium, buttoned.
Luxurious.
A pilot seat worthy of the aircraft it was being built for. Metal fittings were polished on high-speed buffing wheels until they gleamed like pure silver, and the fully rebuilt turbine engine, gleaming and restored, was carefully lowered back into the engine bay. The jet was coming back. Inside the professional paint booth, the final transformation began. The painter in a full spray suit moved with absolute precision, the HVLP spray gun laying down coat after perfect coat of deep, vivid, brilliant silver paint. And as the silver settled onto the primed surface, something remarkable happened. The jet stopped being a wreck. It became a masterpiece. The deep burgundy red buttoned leather seat was installed into the cockpit, rich and sumptuous against the gleaming silver. Polished metal fittings were fitted with aerospace precision. Identification badges, insignia, serial number plates, each one handled with white cotton gloves and mounted with care. Every single, perfect. And then the hangar doors opened. Standing before the world on a polished black marble plinth, under dramatic spotlights, was not a wreck, not a restoration, was a legenda. The silver paint gleamed like liquid mercury, a flawless mirror finish reflecting the entire museum hall. The deep burgundy red leather seat, pristine and luxurious in a perfect cockpit. Every panel, every fitting, every surface absolute perfection, from the crushing darkness of the deep ocean floor to the brightest spotlight in the most prestigious aviation museum. This silver fighter jet had completed the most extraordinary journey any aircraft has ever made. It was built to rule the skies. It was lost to the deep. And it was reborn as a legend. If this story moved you, you know what to do.